Hey guys! Hey guys, today I'm finally gonna come to you with another book review, and I've been waiting to do a book review. I mean, things have been just so hectic, and it's like school's been so busy, but now school is finally out, and I can read all the books that I want, and I actually finished this book last night, so it's kind of before school got out, but anyways, today I'm going to be doing a review on Proxy by Alex London, and let me tell you guys, the feels. But yeah, let's dive right into Proxy by Alex London. So I picked up this book because the Booktuber was going to have a read-along in the month of May, and yeah, I finished it in June, but I did read most of it in May. So I would like to say that I was part of that read-along, even though I was kind of late coming into it. But anyways, so Proxy is sent in the very distant, hopefully very distant future. And the main basis around this is, you know, technology is like so heightened, like it's crazy, like technology is hacking like people. Like you can program your child to look the way you want it to have like super green or purple eyes. And yeah, it's kind of weird. But the main basis is that there's a bunch of rich people and there's a bunch of poor people. And for the poor people to pay off their debt, they are kind of recruited or hired as proxies for these rich people. And so whenever like the rich kids get in trouble, the proxies get punished for it, and the rich kids, they don't get any punishment whatsoever. And it's kind of cruel. And it really intrigued me, and I was super excited to read it, and I picked it right up, and oh boy, am I glad I did. So quickly, let me just say the characters in here are phenomenal. You really don't know how you feel about them until like they do something and you're just like, yeah, that was awesome, or you want to cry because that was sad. And they were all like realistic and complex. Like, you know, when someone had to lay their life out on the line for something, you know, they didn't want to die. Like that's, you know, you expect someone to be like, oh, all high and mighty. Because, you know, they're the hero. They're supposed to do the right thing. Like, to sacrifice yourself for someone else. Isn't that what heroes are supposed to do? But the main character, Sid, doesn't want to be a hero. And I found that really realistic. And, you know, how, you know, he wanted to sacrifice his life, but he was scared. And didn't really, you know, he wanted to live. You know, he knew sacrificing himself would be the right thing, but he wanted to live. And he was faced with this decision so many times. So I really liked the realistic aspect. You know, these are young kids. They don't expect to be heroes. I like the realistic part of them. I also really liked the world in this. Like, the world in here was incredible. Like, who would have thought of this? And I hope no one thinks of it, because I would not want to live in this world whatsoever. And let me just say the plot was really fast. Like, it always picked up. You never wanted to put this book down. I never wanted to put this book down. I was just so busy that sometimes I didn't have the choice. And it was a hard choice. Trust me, math final or read this book. So this book is like almost 370 pages long, around that type. And I think if you pick this up, if you're like in a reading slump, pick this book up, because it will take you right out of it, because it just keeps going. Once something slows down, the next sentence, like you're just thinking, oh, it's starting to slow down, starting to get comfortable. Nope. Someone rushes in with guns and shoots someone, or there's a huge wave that comes and just like almost drowns everybody. Like, what the heck? It's just, they never really catch a break. It's kind of sad. But it made for a good fast-paced story without feeling like always rushing. Like, Alex London balanced that out very nicely, but also just made it quick. And I love when authors can do that and do it right. And he did it right, trust me. The only con I would have with this book is it's basically told between Sid and Knox, and sometimes it would be kind of hard to like recognize when someone was saying something, like, was that Sid who just said that, or was it Knox? And you'd have to go back a little bit. But it wasn't that big of a setback, you know. It was good enough for me to keep up with it, and in the end, yeah, that was like the only con I could think of it. It was just so great. So that was it for no spoilers. We're going to go into this book and dive into the discussion and talk about the story, because it deserves to be talked about. So, yeah. Bye if you don't want to be spoiled. So who else cried? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I was gonna cry. I know I'm kind of skipping ahead to the end here, but that ending, Seriously? I feel like I should have seen it coming, you know, because they kind of foreshadowed it in the way that they had the blood transfusion with Sid and Nox. And how, like, I thought about it at some points in the book, like, you know, if Sid has this in his blood, so does Nox. But I didn't really think about it at the end where they're like, well, we need to kill you for this to be done. So, like, I didn't see the ending with Nox, but did anyone see that ending where they're like, oh, you're gonna have to die to save this? Like, I totally saw that coming. I knew that Sid was gonna have to die if he was gonna have to go out with these plans. Somehow, I picked up on that, and I don't know how I just did. But somehow I didn't pick up that Nox would take Sid's place, and I don't get why I didn't pick that up. There was so much foreshadowing, and I actually, like, thought about, you know, them having the same blood, but I don't think I really thought that Nox had developed that much as a character. And let's just talk about the characters and how much they developed in this one book. Like, Nox went from being this, like, uptight guy who was just flirting all the time and did what he wanted. He came from that to sacrificing himself for his proxy, which is, like, unheard of in this society. Like, you don't even meet your proxy. He met his proxy, he befriended him, and then he sacrificed his life for him. And it was just so sad. I don't get it. And the thing was, I really was starting to warm up to Nox because it seemed like all he had going for him at first was just that he could flirt. Like, seriously. Like, Marie was all, like, badass, and she could kick everyone's butt, and was really helping Sid with, like, helping him get out of there. And besides him, like, getting the codes, which they didn't even last that long to begin with, all he did was like, well, I gotta make sure he's on my side, so, hey, Sid, what's up? Like, he'd just, like, touch his shoulder and be like, got you. And I thought that was super funny. And, you know, near the end, he started to, like, kind of get more with the program. And I was just so sad to see him, like, cut off like that in his life. And I really want to know more about his relationship with his dad because it made it seem like his dad really didn't care about him. Yet at the end, his dad was, like, crying and, like, was saying, that's my son in there. Like, don't do this to him. And it just, it was really sad. But let's also talk about Sid and how he was, like, the most realistic character I've ever, like read about in a book. Like, seriously? Sid, way to go! Also, I was so happy that this was, like, the first main character I had read about who was not only gay, but also had darker skin. Like, you don't see that a lot, especially when they're, like, both there. Like, this was my first, like, main character who was gay, and I was just so happy about that because I don't usually read books with that in there. Like, the closest I've got to that was in The House of Hades. Spoiler alert, just if you haven't read House of Hades, alright, turn your volume down. Nico's gay, so, but even then he's not, like, an extremely, like, main character. Like, he's a main character, but he's not really the most main character. Like, Sid is without a doubt the main character in the story. You could argue it was like Sid and Nox, like, I would agree with you on that, but it's mostly Sid. I just loved his character because he was so realistic and, you know, he didn't want to be a hero. He didn't want to do this all for the cause. He wanted to just live his life and be free and just be with his friend. But, like, none of that happens in the end. And it's really, really sad. And, you know, he befriends Nox and Nox dies, and it's just so sad. And let's just talk about, like, the pacing. Like I said earlier, just keeps picking up. Like, they get to the zoo. They look for the person who's supposed to pick them up. Oh, never mind, there's a polar bear that's escaping, and in fact, all the animals are escaping and are trying to kick everyone's butt and kill them all. And then the person that was supposed to take them to safety, dead. Killed by Sid's best friend, by the way. Then they meet up with these bandits, and then they get into a fight when they're with them. You know, everything's starting to slow down again. And bam, Egan's dead. Bye. They get away from them. They go into the cave. They're having, like, their little laughing moment, which I thought was so sweet. And it really showed how much they were starting to get used to each other when they're, like, cracking these jokes. And, you know, Sid was sleeping in between Marie and Nox. And he's like, do you want to give me a kiss goodnight, Nox? And he just, like, didn't say anything. And then they just cracked up. And I thought that was super funny and really, really sweet. And I loved seeing their relationship between, like, the three friends just keep growing. And I love them. And, like, I wasn't sure who to ship because I love Nox and Mary. And I also love Nox and Sid. Like, who am I going to ship in this relationship? I mean, Nox and Sid had, like, 3 kisses in this book. Like, come on. Who wouldn't ship them? But yet, at the same time, Marie and Knox were really cute as well. And lastly, let's just talk about Marie. Like, holy God, like, I loved her. She was such, like, a kick-ass person and really paid attention to, like, you know, those self-defense classes that they taught the rich kids. But then again, I was also kind of, like, on edge about her because she was doing all these things for the cause, and, you know, she sacrificed the life of her Proxy, who she wanted to save, for Sid, like, this new person that she's never even met before. And it was kind of sketchy how she would, like, do so much for Sid, and Sid talked about this a lot, how she just seemed to do things for, like, she would have it done her way, and she really wanted this cause to be done no matter what. Like she would be sad, like, when they told Sid he had to sacrifice himself, she was sad, but she was totally willing to do it, and that was just kind of scary. I'm excited to see where her character goes in the future books. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be picking up the future books because, holy God. But yeah, in the end, you guys, I totally recommend this book. This is a 5 out of 5 stars. I know I'm kind of giving those out a lot recently, and I'm hoping that, you know, something will come along and I can be a little more, like, get down on, really review it. But honestly, I mean, the only problem was the problem that I mentioned earlier, but sometimes it was hard to tell between Sid and Knox who was talking because of the writing style. It was basically, like, both of their points of views in third person. But yeah, let's just leave off on a note that I do not want to live in this society, like, at all. Like, this is completely ridiculous, and how everyone's in debt and all these, like poverty is going on, and, like, no one even hears of animals even more. Like, they go to a zoo and you're like, this is, like, the last of their kind. Like, this is just a horrible life, and I really want to see what life is like now that they kind of wiped everything clean, and I'm kind of anticipating that it's going to just be, like, chaos. So I'm hoping to pick the next book up soon and review that as soon as possible. But yeah, guys, definitely go pick that up. And Tiernan over at Thebooktuber, thank you for having this be your read-along, because I totally enjoyed it, and it was so worth picking it up at the bookstore. I loved it. So yeah, guys, go read Proxy. It is amazing, and you will so not regret picking it up. The world is awesome in a way that I would never want to live in it. The characters are amazingly realistic, but also, like, just awesome characters. I loved seeing them develop. They developed so much in, like, the span of just a couple days, because so much happens to them. So yeah, tell me what you guys thought about the book. I know it's kind of going through BookTube right now as, like, a more popular book, so I want to hear your guys' thoughts. So as always, guys, have a great day, read a great book, and I'll see you all later. Bye! So if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Doodly, and Game Center, all at Kaylin318. You can also follow me at Goodreads, Tumblr, and Google Plus at Seeker for Stories. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys with my next video. Bye!